Well, today I'm changing the scenery a little bit. I've come to the ornamental side of the garden, which is the cottage garden area at the very end here. And this is an area that I have been ignoring pretty much through the summer and autumn, because it's an area that I do want to make more of a wow factor for the spring, but also then for the early summer and for the rest of the season. I'll be just truly too busy around, I would say, the vegetable side of it, the kitchen garden side of it. So I have come here just to start some of the prep, because there are a lot of areas that do need tending to, and as I mentioned in the last week's video, I'm trying to catch these opportune moments to actually get jobs done. And there is a lot in this area that has gone over, and I suppose I don't really need to clear all of it yet. I can still let the winter to do its own thing, but there are some of the herbaceous perennials where the flowering stalks have been falling over, and some of the tall brown material that just needs to be removed, like the chobai weed. Then I have sedums that actually otherwise would look really good during the winter. They do hold their structure really well during the sort of frosty and even snowy weather, but I didn't stake them, so they flopped over, and I can see the small rosettes coming from the center area already, and I want to make sure that I protect those fresh that fresh growth coming up. So I do want to cut some of that flopped over foliage over as well, and maybe even just mulch the crowns of the plants with that same cuttings. But otherwise, roses, I haven't actually cut back the roses here either, so definitely have to do that. And again, weeding, clearing and weeding and cutting down old foliage is really the thing at the moment. Everybody's doing it in their gardens. I suppose it will freshen up an area quite a bit. And the overall work that needs to be done in this area, I will not be able to get it all done in one day. This needs to be, I suppose, divided into portion-sized chunks. But even if I get to do it maybe half of this first circle, so the closest part to the rose garden, I think I'll be quite happy with that, because there's quite a lot of weeds anyway and quite a lot of pruning to be done. And then the rest of it, the part behind me, would say the winter can break it down a little bit more itself. At the moment I can't really even walk around there, even though there are a lot of weeds I see from here, but I wouldn't physically be able to walk around there. So I think I leave that more for the, let's say, February, March. They could be really good days in the garden that time of the year. And even though the weather hasn't really changed, at the moment it's dry, and I'm really enjoying that it's dry. Obviously it's well overcast, it's very cloudy, but I feel like I jinxed it last week when I said, we won't have frost for a couple of weeks, because there was quite a good twist in the weather forecast, and it's going to get very cold over the next few days. Maybe not quite -degrees, don't know, we'll see. Light frost, let's say. So let's get to it. I think some of the parts of it, especially the weeding and so on, I'll put you on time-lapse, but yeah, otherwise let's tackle this area as well. And I think I'm going to start with this side of the garden, and mainly because this part is probably the clearest and cleanest. The footpath hasn't got that many weeds in either, and I just find, yes, to get the ball rolling, those little wins that I think once I clear some of it and it's not physically too taxing, it's going to create a bit of a snowball effect of giving you more motivation to keep going and keep going. And that's what working in autumn or like early winter now, really truly, is those, you have to motivate yourself because everything else is against you. Like the foliage is not as wet as it was last week, but it's still dampish, and obviously then the rest of the conditions aren't that ideal either. But I think I'm going to start with the roses first, because I haven't pruned them at all, so I'm going to take them halfway down, and it's mainly because their branches are quite long, and if I do want to move around between the plants, they're going to be the ones that are going to be catching me. And all I'm going to do at the moment, doing literally nothing else, is going to take them halfway down to the main stem. No other pruning unless I can see that there's a branch that has broken in wind, but just going to reduce the half to half, and then early spring I'm going to come back and look at them again in case something needs to be thinned out. But at the moment, pre-winter prep, that's all. It's just going to, even though they have lovely little flowers on some of the branches here, literally just halfway down, and it's going to be about there. Doesn't even matter if it's outwards or inwards facing both, but I think I'll take it to here actually. So let's say, yeah, couldn't have been more exact. That is just about half of it, yeah. And once I've done my first cut, the rest of the branches are going to be cut to exactly that same height. So it's going to be one sort of a neat and tidy bush that's left here. If the weeding and pruning would only happen as fast in real life as it does on the time-lapse, but at least I have one of the halves done, and I still have the sort of worst part of the half to do. So I'm doing a quick tea break, but it's nice to see an area completed. And with the herbaceous perennials, with the ones like the Veronicastrum that don't have any leaves on the ground level, I left the stems about 4 inches up from the ground. I cut them off above the ground, not sort of flush, and I just want to make sure that I see where the plant was growing, so it's like marking a spot as such. And I used its own stems and spent flower heads as well then to mulch that area with, that central area with, so I sort of really know that this is where a plant is growing. And then obviously with the herbaceous perennials, where the leaves are still there, I only took away the spent flower heads. So again, those little mounds are there. And I also want to make sure that I'm mulching my peony really well, because for some reason it has put out so many proper strong fresh shoots already. So it's way too early. We should have be another 4 months away before the shoots come out, but yeah, I can see them sort of through the soil. So if the hens or other birds go scratching around them too quickly, they're going to be exposed, which can damage then the crown of the plant. So I want to make sure that gets mulched as well. I tried not to remove too many leaves that were on the soil there, because they are great as a mulch. And why I mainly wanted to really have these areas clean and tidy, I have the tulip bulbs that I want to see where the emergent shoots are going to be coming up from, and I want to make sure that I definitely do not tread on those parts of the sort of planting areas. And I already have a hellebore flowering so beautifully in the corner, and I have more hellebores to come, but again, they need to be just broken away from all the weeds, and then the rest of the spent foliage from plants that are doing their thing during the summer season. So I'll finish my cup of tea and then I'll move over to the other side. I have a whole wheelbarrow full of weeds and cuttings and prunings. And when I was actually weeding the bed, the footpath that I only put down a couple of years ago, actually all of that wood chip had turned into compost. So I had composted fully down. There's no even sign that there was ever wood chips in there. And the nettles have had absolute field day. So there was so much to weed out of that, but thankfully, because I had that wheat barrier underneath of it, everything was coming off it quite easily. But now, knowing that, I suppose I'll use that compost on the beds as a mulch in spring, and then I actually have fresh wood chip, that same wood chip that I originally used. I have that to lay on that footpath again, so that would be freshened up in spring. But otherwise, yeah, big change, big difference actually, once you've weeded out all those unnecessary plants, especially when they're so easily recognized as weeds. So like so the ground elder or the nettles, really easy, you just see, yeah, that is a weed, that's not a plant that should be there. So no, because I also have a couple of types of grasses here, I was gathering up as many of those loose seed heads, because otherwise wind is going to carry them away. They get stuck on everything because they're distinctly brown in colour. They look obviously gone over, so it was something I had to gather up as well. And I was delighted to see that the second hellebore as well, so that's the lighter coloured flowering hellebore, is starting to put out flower shoots as well. So the red, Anna's red one, is flowering already on one of the plants. The others, I can't see anything yet, but at least the white flowering one is putting out shoots as well. But overall, really happy with today's progress. Little and often seems to be the true answer to keeping the overwhelm at bay, but at the same time just finishing from start to finish finishing a job from start to finish. Yeah, that's the right way to say it. And yeah, I'm just overall delighted now. At least I know there's half of it done, and then I can come back into this area early spring again and carry on with the rest of it, because there are some plants I probably need to dig out again, or if I want to move something, I can't do it now anyway. It's just too late in the season. Earlier in autumn would have been better time, and then very early in spring, that would be the next best opportune time to do it. I'm really looking forward to seeing the tulips come up in spring again, and I'm hoping that they were happy here growing, and they're going to re-emerge this coming spring again. Otherwise, I have done my Farmer Gracie order. I've reordered some tulips. One type that I wanted was already sold out, but at the moment they do have a sale, a good 40% discount sale on the tulips. What I ordered this time were still a little bit more expensive than what they were the last season, but not hugely. So again, the selection is absolutely amazing what they have. So do check out Farmer Gracie if you haven't done your orders yet. But yeah, otherwise I'll leave it here, and we'll see if we get something done next week again. Thanks a million for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.